Right. Despite winning the league last season, hours before the Champions League final, Liverpool sacked their manager, Arne Slot. Former Reds midfielder Danny Murphy had his say. Moments after Slot's dismissal, he was asked whether he was surprised at all.
I'm not, but just because the amount of fans who are disgruntled around it, it's got so big on, I don't know, you follow or don't follow, but the Liverpool fan base is big online. And also at Anfield, it's got a bit toxic, which doesn't happen very often, as you know. I think the style of play is what's done him. At Anfield especially, you have to go after teams. You have to be 100 miles an hour. You have to have high energy, intensity, the dynamism, all of that's what it's not been there. And the fans demand it. It doesn't matter whether you're struggling, whether you can't sit off teams and be too tactical at Anfield, and it's hurting. Teams have come there and outplayed them and looked comfortable, and it's just not the Liverpool way.
For more on this, I'm delighted to say joining us now is the Mirror's Liverpool writer, Jim Boardman. Morning, Jim.
Morning, Jim.
Morning.
Jim, I mean, I look at the stats, 84 points 2 seasons ago to 60, first to fifth, goal difference 45 down to 10. Was it inevitable that Slot would go?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it felt like it was inevitable to me back in November, but a lot of fans, had more patience. But as the season goes on, you just see it sort of tumbling. More and more fans are starting to say it's time for a change. And it wasn't just the results. The style of football wasn't really appealing to many fans. So many Liverpool fans were coming out of games and thinking, what have I just watched? How much have I paid to just sit and watch that? And it isn't just the result. I think you can put up with less exciting football if you win it, and you can put up with defeats if you've got exciting football, and Liverpool had neither. And I think you're right. I mean, Liverpool don't want to just be scraping into the Champions League because results go their way on the last day of the season or anything like that. Liverpool want to be up there at the top, challenging, and they were nowhere near. And that's just not good enough. But I think what really sort of does it is that fans were thinking, well, there's no sign of him having any ideas on how to fix it. There's so many criticisms, and then when you get to a point where he's being openly booed because of a substitution of a young player, that tells you that Anfield's tipped. Liverpool fans, match going on or not, they might say what they want online, but when you're in the ground, you tend to stay quiet if you're really annoyed with things. You certainly don't boo unless there's a really good reason for it. And I think really that Rio substitution was the bit that proved to the world really that it had just gone too far. There was no patience, and he needs to go into next season, whoever the manager is, having the patience of the fans, and you can't have a whole season when you start with no patience.
Yeah, Jim, I mean, you can sum it up. If you spend $500 million, 500 million on your team and you don't improve it, you're going to get sacked. And that's what he's done. The team's got worse and he spent 500 million. I think there's a few reasons why he's been sacked. 9 players left the club. Kelleher, Quansah, Trent, Andy Robertson wasn't playing. Harvey Elliott, Nunez, Jota, Diaz. Too many players have left the club after winning the league. Too many new players come in at once, all trying to keep their own head above water. The style of play, when's the last time you've seen Van Dijk hit in Salah's chest with one pass? When's the last time you've seen Trent used to hit Mane's chest with one pass? And they were that strong, the wingers, they were getting the ball early and getting 1v1 situations and getting at teams. He's turned it into a Dutch style of football that no one likes watching. Sideways, come back out sideways, not pressing from the front. And then Salah's comments that he's made, 3 times he's thrown his toys out the pram. I'm a bit disappointed with Salah, really. Well, very disappointed. A legend of a player. And he's ended up putting the boot in the manager, walking out the door. And obviously the people above have gone, right, obviously the dressing room's not with him. 12 players should be ashamed of themselves, like in the tweet. And, there's them reasons why he got sacked. Not just one.
No. I mean, I think what led to the sacking was really down to the football, the way that they played, and it was, the results. They obviously all that plays a part in it. But of course, fans booing shows you there's discontent there. And what Salah did, it felt as though Salah was sort of acting as the spokesman for the dressing room, though. And I do wonder, how many other dressing rooms might have been glad to have had a spokesman like Salah when they've been going through a situation like that. Do
you know what though, Jim? Sorry to interrupt you. If you don't stamp on that, you get young lads doing it on Twitter. If you don't stamp on that situation, it's a free-for-all at the club. It's a team game.
No, no, it's not. Salah,
Yes.
look what Salah's done for Liverpool. If anybody has earned the right to have his say, it was Mo Salah.
Well, why didn't he say it just to the manager then, behind closed doors? Say to the manager, look, we need to get back to... Not, but you do that in public, you've got a problem, because the rest of the group think they can go on Twitter and start criticising the club. This is Liverpool Football Club. You don't do things like that. You don't go on social media and criticise the way the team's playing.
Sorry,
you can
Jim.
go behind closed doors. Fair enough. Sorry, Jim.
Jim, go ahead. Sorry, have your say, mate.
No, it's fair enough. It's a big topic, isn't it? And I think, one issue on that as well is that Liverpool Football Club don't usually let things get as bad as they got this season. They are patient when it comes to how long a manager stays in the job, but there's a lot of fans really wanted to change this season, and even to the point where some fans were saying maybe there needs to be an interim boss to come in before all these players get so demoralised that they're not going to sign new contracts, that they're going to want to leave, that they're not going to be passing word on to the mates to try and, when you're trying to attract new players in. The whole club just felt demoralised.
Jim, do you not think the players should look in the mirror? Like, don't blame the manager. 12 months ago, they won the league. Do you not think some of the players should say, that's our fault? We've not played very well.
It's all too easy to always blame the manager, and it's never just the manager. And I think when you go down the path of always just blaming the manager and bringing a new one in, you start seeing problems. I won't name any other Premier League clubs that have been acting like that in recent years, but you can all think of some. There's got to be more to it, and I think the new manager that comes in needs to look at the players and look at who's going to fight for him, who's going to be on his side, who's going to put everything into it. But it is still the manager at the end of the day that's directing them. But another defence of the manager as well, I don't think for 1 minute he didn't try his best. He did all he could. But I think, there comes a point when you maybe are out of your depth. He wasn't as experienced as maybe Liverpool need, or maybe the experience was there, but it just didn't turn out to be the right experience. And I just think you've got to sort of look at the powers that be slightly above him as well. Slot came in as head coach, not manager. That's the first time Liverpool have used that title, and the impression is that these people above him, Richard Hughes, that are going out signing players. And last summer's transfer business was a lot of money spent, but spent too late. So that's got to be looked at.
Yeah, it was sort of vaguely ironic, wasn't it? That I think Richard Hughes made the announcement about Arne Slot. A lot of people are pointing the finger at Richard Hughes as well. Look, Jim, sorry we're out of time, mate, but thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Cheers.
The Liverpool writer for the Mirror, Jim Boardman there.